Hello, welcome to What the Flick. It's such a big week. It's a gigantic week. There are only 3 of us here, but really there should be like 36 of us here to talk about Avengers Infinity War. I'm Christy, that's Matt. At the end is my good friend Tara McNamara, who is back, and I'm so happy about that. We're gonna do a spoiler-free discussion of Avengers Infinity War. I promise you. I know you think even saying the word "the" is a spoiler. We're gonna try super hard not to spoil. We're gonna do a whole separate spoiler talk after this. Right. And there we're gonna unleash. So be warned. But here we're gonna behave ourselves.
Yes.
And Matt will describe the behemoth Infinity War.
This will be our 1-minute review, right?
Right. All right, so Avengers Infinity War is the latest chapter in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Real quick, I wanna let you know that we have partnered with Atom Tickets. First-time users can, when checking out, can use the code WTF5 and get $5 off your first purchase. Great deal for this movie because it's terrific. So Avengers Infinity War is about the plot by Thanos to collect all of the Infinity Stones. That's what we've seen get hinted at in almost all of these movies going back 10 years. We're now in our 19th movie. This is what it's all been leading to, and Thanos wants all those stones. He's gonna put them on a fancy glove and get up to shenanigans. And everybody in the Marvel Universe is gonna have to stop him. So let's watch a quick clip for a taste of it.
We got one advantage. He's coming to us. We have what Thanos wants, so that's what we'll use.
Let's talk about this plan of yours. I think it's good, except it sucks. So let me do the plan, and that way it might be really good.
Wow.
I just realized while basking in your greatness, while you gave that intro, that you're wearing a Captain America.
Perhaps I am.
Can we see how the detail here?
Yeah, they can.
There you go.
I similarly wore a necklace that was as close as I had to the shield.
Nice.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Nice.
I'm wearing brown.
Are we closing in really quick?
I'm wearing brown.
Edwin's closing in so you can see my collar.
Oh, that's really nice. Where'd you get that?
Target.
That's amazing.
Target.
You too can go to Target and get Captain America gear. I wore brown, which tells you how I feel about this movie compared to my friends.
Hey,
it's
come
not, It's
on.
not that bad. I just think it's just so much. It's just so much. It's just too much, and not to the extent of like Civil War was super distracting and hard to get engaged in because there were so many of them.
Oh, I totally disagree.
I'm not done. There are so many of them, and they're on sides, and you have to remember who's on what side with whom. At least at this point, they're all on the same side, but there are so many of them and so many plots to juggle that within each individual subplot, I'm like, I want to hang out with Thor and Rocket, or I want to hang out with Spider-Man and Iron Man. Like the individual pieces work, but like the swirling between them just feels arduous and not light. And even within that, there are moments of banter that I enjoy. I'm always more into the actual banter of these movies, like the actual interplay of the characters, than the big noisy set pieces, which are all kind of interchangeable. I can't wait for the comments. It's going to be so much fun. But the end, which we're not going to talk about until the spoiler section, I was impressed by the end. The end is in its own way, it is daring. But the whole time I'm like, okay, I would like this movie for a little while, and then maybe that movie for a little while, but not all of them combined into like a jambalaya of superhero. Tell me why I'm wrong.
All right. First of all, jambalaya is delicious.
It is. It's wonderful.
Second of all, so this movie is the latest and one of the big episodes of the TV series called the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? I think you have to look at all these movies as if it's similar to like checking in on a Game of Thrones. We're getting a new episode of this narrative arc every few months, right? And some of them are kind of bottle episodes like Ant-Man or maybe the last Guardians of the Galaxy.
Or Black Panther.
Or Black
right, which
Panther.
stands on its own,
But at least
in a lot
Black
of
Panther
ways.
like introduces a new character and kind of starts to affect the world. So you do have to be invested in these characters. I think similar to Civil War. I loved Civil War, and I thought the emotional impact of Civil War was really solid. I think this has a similar level of impact, but in a much different way. I think what helps this movie, if you have followed all these characters and you're invested in the relationships and how the coming of Thanos forces everybody to kind of start talking again, and events that happen in this movie, I think you're gonna be really invested in that, and I think it's gonna really help. However, that level of investment and that level of knowledge, even having not read comics, even if you're just following these movies, I think it's going to recontextualize the ending a little bit, that maybe pulls its teeth a little bit. But that being said, I had a great time in this movie. I'm very much in awe of some of the choices, and I think some of the team ups work really well, right?
What? Which ones?
Like putting Doctor Strange and Iron Man together. Like they're both snarky, they're both kind of self-important pricks, and watching them go after each other, like neither of them, who's going to be the alpha, and then throw Spider-Man into that, and it like there's really good dynamics. You get these great character dynamics. We talked about this a little bit earlier in the week. Chris Hemsworth comes in, and we see in his Thor in this movie, just like we did in Ragnarok, we see Hemsworth play kind of the regal god Thor. We see him kind of be the posturing smartass. He can play comedy, he can play the drama, he can play the action, all within the same movie, and you buy it's the same person. Now, would I like to see more of some of these characters? Sure, but there's another Avengers movie coming.
Right.
So,
which kind of, in some ways, undermines the power of the emotion they're going for here, which we'll talk about.
I feel like this isn't exactly a one-to-one comparison because the episode I'm going to reference is so kind of arguably kind of a bottle episode. But I feel like if you're watching the Game of Thrones series and you get to that, and I think it was last season where you get to Hardhome. Maybe it was 2 seasons again.
I don't know.
Where people like.
Do you watch Game of Thrones?
There's a bunch of episodes, like a show like Game of Thrones or a show like Walking Dead. You'll have a lot of things that kind of just like, they're kind of like little bits of catch up, and people move their stories a little bit forward. And then you'll get this big episode where a ton of shit goes down. And that's kind of what you get here, right? But those episodes don't stand alone very well. And this one is one that I think if you came into this and you hadn't been, not just like coming into this cold, I think you're going to be very lost.
Well, let me tell you. Let me tell you about that. So, so I brought with my, fingernails in my mouth, my 7.5-year-old. I had taken him to see Black Panther. He loved it. I thought he's not going to understand this. Loved it.
Did he?
So I thought, okay, let's try it. These Avengers movies seem to be realizing that younger kids are going, and they seem to be working on more levels and being less violent.
They're playful.
Yeah, they are as kids play, other than, an occasional machine gun.
From a raccoon, though, from a talking raccoon.
Yeah. So, so mostly it is how kids play, and it doesn't seem real. So I took him with bated breath, hoping that this was going to work out. And so what I found was that he, having not seen any of the prior films, I thought, how is he going to follow all these stories? But he knows them because he's aware, just like everyone is. You know who Black Widow is, even if you've never seen a movie. So he could pretty much follow it. So I'm thinking the whole time, does he understand what's happening? He could pretty much follow it. They get you up to speed enough. And I think the beauty of it is the fun in seeing all of these different characters from all the different universes, not different universes, all the different
the different threads,
branches interact and battle. It's always fun when you see Guardians of the Galaxy fight Thor, Guardians of the Galaxy fight, whoever comes into the picture for this one, some other group, especially because they don't know all the Avengers. And so that's what gets, I think, even more fun is seeing a new introduction.
It can be done without having seen them all, then, you think?
Oh, yeah. I think you can actually walk into this one. It does build on the entire series so well, and I think that that's really to its credit. But I will tell you that the ending is such a jaw dropper. I then regretted my decision.
And maybe for a little kid, how did he feel about it?
As soon as the movie was over, he said very loudly to the whole theater, "This is a bad film."
We need to get Kate in here for his review.
Nice.
Definitely. That's
what Christy and I do every time we see a movie. That's the typical critic screening, right? It's like, if it's bad, just when it's done, this is a bad movie.
It's a bad film. So you, though, have seen all the movies. You knew why all the emotional intertwining threads mattered. So what did you think of it?
I mean, I'm not a fanboy, though, so I think, I can't get caught up in the minutia of all of these characters. I enjoyed it. What I really enjoyed is is the playfulness, and I think that the Avengers films and Marvel has really found its balance in knowing how to be comedic and also show all this action and have drama and have emotion. And what I love is that they know how to do the ethical quandary.
Okay.
Right? The ethical quandary of, you know, I mean, Thanos's reasons for extinguishing half of the universe, you know, it's villainous, but there's a thought that you can follow, right? Like there's
It's
a path.
genocide. It is genocide.
But you can at least see his reasoning, and I like that they.
And he likes that the jewels are pretty. I think he just likes
I
having
don't think
them
it was that
on
the
his
jewels are
hand.
pretty. He is very like he is the ultimate narcissist, but he sees what he's doing as benefiting the universe, the greater universe, more than just each individual life, but life is in plant life, is planet life, and you can follow that. And I think that's what Civil War did really well too, is showing that schism that occurred happened for each side, just had a different perspective on how to handle a problem. I think we need more of that in film, because film is such a good educator and such a good influencer on pop culture. And so the more that we can see, you know, your enemy may be doing something really wrong. If you can at least understand why, maybe you could solve the problem, you know?
So kids can learn, like, it's not good to kill a bunch of people.
Right,
It's
right.
not good
Not
to
good to
like
kill
eviscerate entire planets. These are teachable
Right.
moments.
Teachable moments.
No, and it is, and you're right about the comedic strength of it. That's what I've always liked best about these films is the banter, whether it's, you know, just Star-Lord and Rocket or Thor and whoever, and yeah, all the Iron Man and Doctor Strange stuff is great. I love Doctor Strange. I loved Black Panther. But even the Black Panther stuff, though, I feel like they just sort of dip into it because you've got to get to everyone. So like I was saying this yesterday when we did a little preview of Avengers. At the showing you and I went to, it was like a rock concert where they play the hits. Like, oh yeah, there's Shuri. Like the whole crowd went nuts.
Oh, I love that
The whole
too.
crowd went nuts, and that was fun. But like, it's like the most tantalizing little taste of people that you want to see more of. And I guess that's the point of the individual standalone films. But trying to wedge everybody in just feels breathless and a little unsatisfying.
Well, it's an ensemble film, so everybody can only see they're a team.
And they're not all even in it.
Right? It's just like a basketball team, right? Everybody has their
Right.
role,
Someone's
everybody gets
a
a
bench
moment,
It's like
nobody
Earthquake.
can be
Like
the star.
you get all these little stars. You get all these stars. They all
Towering
get
inferno.
right. You get right. Exactly.
It is a little weird though to try to jam everybody in and still make it satisfying. I've the people I wanted to see more of, people I love, and that's my problem, I guess. It's a matter of expectations, perhaps, because you guys found it totally satisfying. It seems.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was there as much as you wanted them to be.
Well, I mean, I wanted more, but
Yes, and you're happy.
look, at 2.5 hours, I wasn't really prepared to sit through 3.5 hours.
But I bet there's a three and a half hour version to be had out there.
Well, you know, they were originally. The original titles were Infinity War Part 1 and Infinity War Part 2, and we're now, sorry, my phone is ringing. You know, we've changed or they haven't revealed what the title of the sequel is of the next Avengers movie is going to be, right?
The fourth one.
The fourth one.
Yeah, which
But-
is smart.
Which is smart, right?
When you see the ending, you'll be like, now I get why they didn't tell us.
Right.
Yeah.
When you stay through the very, very, very end, obviously, because this is a Marvel movie.
You got to stay to the very end.
But look, like I think this is totally worth seeing, and yeah.
Okay, so we had a lot more to talk about.
Yes.
We'll talk about more in our spoiler section.
Yes.
And I'm going to try not to spoil.
Yes.
So just for now, what are our numbers? I'm saying 6.5.
I'm gonna say
Do I change your number?
8.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 8. Like I see the flaws in it, but I still think it's one of the better entries. I really liked.
We should mention that Anthony and Joe Russo directed this.
Yes, who
They also
directed
did
War.
Civil War, and then did they do Winter Soldier too? Anyway, they've done a bunch.
Okay.
And they do have to get their arms around a lot
Right.
of stuff and
Tara, what
make
is-
the action sequences move and make the characters fun. Anyway, what's your number?
8.5.
Yeah, 8.5. All right, so our number 7.7. I do appreciate the enormity of it. I do. And I do appreciate the juggling of it. I really do. I just don't know that I like this kind of massive ensemble movie, and I prefer the individual standalones that truly can function as standalones, and there's more depth to them. Don't at me. We're going to do a spoiler section too, so please click on that only after you have seen the movie.
Or don't.
Or don't. Or just don't.
We
just,
can't tell you
just
what
go
to do.
into it cold and enjoy life. Bye. Thanks. Bye.